Just a few days ago, as I filmed this, prop jet A36 crashed on takeoff from Lima November Sierra. That's Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We know the pilot had a door open in flight because he told the tower controller that, and that's why he had to come back and land. Yesterday, we found out that all 5 people on board survived, right now with unspecified injuries. Lucky that that happened. The door pop should not result in a crash. Stick with me on FlyWire as we take a look at it. Hi, I'm Scott Perdue, and today on FlyWire we're going to dig a little deeper into the emergency that is a door open in flight in a Bonanza. This particular airplane was built as an A36TC. It came from the factory with a turbocharged piston engine and an oxygen system, notably. It is an unpressurized airplane, but then it went to probably Tradewinds turbines in Amarillo to put an Allison, now built by Rolls-Royce, 250 turboprop engine that produces 420 to 450 horsepower. People argue about that. It's quite an airplane. If I had the money and the need, I think I'd have one of these airplanes. It's really, really fun. I did a magazine story on this airplane, not this particular airplane, but the type, years ago, and Tradewinds gave me an airplane for the weekend. It was really incredible. Takeoff roll of less than 700 feet. I mean, you could do 500 lightweight. Amazing climb rate, 2,500 feet or better per minute. Really fast at high altitudes. The only limitations are fuel. The turbine burns not much for this one, 24 gallons per hour in cruise, and speed. You're limited to factory yellow line as a red line, and factory weights, and the turboprop can exceed all of that. So it's really a bit overpowered, but hey, that's the fun. So what happened to 47 Mike? The Bonanza door has a standard striker, a pin at the bottom, and a hook latch at the very top. And that's what and there's a lot of twist in the door. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. I got a video to show you. It's a clip from when I did when I started FlyWire, when I did it. This is a topic. You must be careful every time to shut the door and check it out correctly. Otherwise, it will pop open. It's one of the quirks about a Bonanza. There's clamshell doors for the back on the A36 or the 36 series. That's not what opened here. You can't accidentally open one of those in flight. The American Bonanza Society has a very good training syllabus, and the door pop exercise is one of those maneuvers. I do it every time, every student that I teach in the airplane. Having experienced it, you will learn that it is just not a big deal. It's very noisy, very distracting, and it does create a little bit of extra drag. But the airplane's going to fly just fine. You got to use normal speeds, slower roll rates, frankly, and be deliberate in every action you take. Just fly the airplane normally. That extra drag actually raises the stall speed because part of the wing is stalled already with that drag. So let's look at the clip and see the door pop. Good, here we go. Now let's look at the flight path of 47 Mike. As we look at the ADSP data, keep in mind the winds are down the runway at 17 gusts 30. That's doable, but turbulent. I'll overlay radio comm at what seems to be the appropriate places so we can see what's going on here. The first hit shows 47 Mike's ground speed during the takeoff roll, where it reached about 62 knots. Then the first airborne hit was 7 seconds later at 73 knots. Usually the door is going to pop open as the wheels leave the ground. The pressure changes considerably next to the door and the pressure inside the airplane is higher. So if it's loose, if that latch is loose, it's going to push that door open. Typically, it is the upper latch that hasn't seated and the door twists open from the top, okay? And you can't close it in flight. I just want to say that. You can't, don't even try. You can't close it in flight. Just go back and land and close it.
Lancer Tower, Bonanza 347 Mike has an open door. We need to return for landing.
347 Mike, roger. You want to make it to 31 or 26?
Lancer Tower, I cannot hear you with the wind, so we're going to return to 26. We're going to do downwind.
347 Mike, roger. Runway 26, clear to land.
26, clear to land. 347 Mike.
At this point, the airplane climbs out to about 200 feet, levels off at around 625 feet. It isn't apparent whether the pilot reduced the throttle or not, but the airplane did not accelerate a great deal and did not climb any further, and it could with that turbine engine. We can speculate a little given the ground speed did not change much.
347 Mike, pull up.
When the airplane turned through 60 degrees to 90 degrees to the wind. So the airplane was slow, and the airplane was low. The highest altitude was less than 250 feet in the air. That's not acceptable, frankly. On the good-bad scale, this is bad. You should fly the airplane normally, accelerate straight ahead to normal speeds. Remember that extra drag with the door open increases stall speed considerably. Then you should climb to normal altitudes, okay? In this case, at least 1,000 feet above the ground. Fly a normal pattern. Don't rush. You don't have to do anything in a rush. In fact, do not rush anything. Okay, number one. Let's look at another clip from my original video.
First thing first is a takeoff. Let's close the door. Lean forward. Right. That wind's from the left. I like to use a little bit of aileron into the wind. Count the takeoff. That's the window. How about that? How's the brake? Not convenient having the window pop open.
And I'll leave a link to that in the description below for you to watch the video I did on this subject. It's an early FlyWire, so just saying. I'll also leave a link to that article I wrote about the Tradewinds turbine A36. I think my close on that pretty much sums it up. I'd like one of the takeaways for you to be that in an emergency, you need to slow down. When I first started in the Air Force, my instructors would say the first thing you do is wind your watch. Of course, back in those days, spring-driven watches, not too common around here, but you get the idea. Just take your time. Don't rush into making a maneuver or an action that you're going to regret later. So the important things are aviate, navigate, and then communicate. Aviate. Fly the plane first. Fly the plane. Fly the plane. One thing about the controller's calls I want to mention here is perhaps a climb call would have been appropriate much earlier, but calling a pull-up during the short descent that he saw might have caused the pilot to do just that, stall the airplane, depart, and spin it in. Surviving a spin impact is unlikely. In this case, it looks like pretty much they crashed straight ahead. The airplane stalled, I'm sure, in the turn, but it didn't have a chance to spin on its own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on FlyWire.